on those floods. All stand for pledge allegiance and moment of silence, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, motion for the approval of the agenda.
A motion to approve the agenda?
A second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, number 3, approval of the minutes of March 24th, regular meeting, March 31st, special meeting, the levy hearing, and March 31st, special meeting, bond hearing.
A motion to approve the minutes. Second.
Okay, motion second. Any call outs? Any? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Citizens input. Is there anybody here that has anything they want to come up to the podium and say that's not on the agenda? Yes, ma'am. Oh, you have to come to the podium.
My name's Kim Thacker. I live in Oak Hills on Forestling Street. I have a son who is 8 and he is autistic. I have probably just on our street, which is not very big, 4 children that are under the spectrum as well. So I was just wondering if we could get some kind of like street signage or like autistic children at play, just so like people are aware of it. With summer coming up, it just makes me nervous, and they love to be outside, and just so people are aware. Just an idea.
Yeah.
I've lived there for 12 years and I don't plan on going anywhere. So, and I know the neighbors, they've been there for quite a while as well. So I haven't really talked to the other parents about it, but I don't think they'd be opposed to it at all. So just.
Do you think, Rosendale, from a police perspective, you need or? Okay.
Do we have to have anything from Tristan? So he owns.
I mean, it's all public right away. We own all the
Oh.
streets and the, so yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
don't think so.
I'm sure we can get something figured out,
Yeah.
get her done.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Make sure everything's safe for you.
Not even a whole block,
Right.
just
Yeah.
like, and there's 4 or 5 kids just on that street.
Especially with the new street going through eventually.
Mhm,
We got, we should come a couple years ago.
mhm. Yeah.
Could you maybe bring to City Hall an example or email to the,
I did not, I just called on the phone, they told me to
Okay.
come here.
sure, okay, we can do some research on that, but.
Okay.
Okay,
All right,
Thank you.
very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you. Nobody else? All right, we'll move on then. Approval of the consent agenda items. We have tobacco license renewal for Fairway, tobacco license renewal for Dollar General, light liquor license renewal for Circle S Bluff Stop, approval of new fire department EMS volunteer Emma Knoll, tax abatement application 512 Jamie Lane, bills, checks number 93,326 to 93,419 in the amount of $261,876.27. And ECH transactions, the amount of $25,904.68. Do you have a motion to approve all these, as long as the police departments approve all the cigarette license and they're all good, right?
All good. A motion to approve the consent agenda items.
I will second.
Okay, thanks, Kurt. Sherry? We have a first and a second. Do we have any other conversations on any of the items, comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries on the consent agenda items. Okay, discussion action items. Need to open the public hearing for proposed budget. So I need a motion for opening the public hearing.
I'll motion to open the public hearing.
I'll second.
All right, thanks Ryan and Sherry. Motion and second, all in favor,
Aye.
all opposed, motion carries. We are now in a public hearing. We got anything to report?
Oh, Jason's online. You have anything, Jason?
Nope, only if there's a question. Otherwise, we submitted what you guys have put together.
As far as comments from,
They received no public comments or questions regarding.
Council have anything on the latest budget? All right, motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Any motion and a second, all in favor of closing public hearing?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Move on to resolution 25-10, approving the city of Sergeant Bluff budget for fiscal year 2026 to 2027. Motion to
A motion to approve the budget for 2026, 2027.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Got any comments or questions on the latest budget that we're gonna approve?
Just a comment, doesn't it seem like 5 years ago that we were starting the whole process, like talking about it in January? It just feels like it's been a long time since we talked about.
There's a lot to
that.
put it together and a lot of hard
Yeah.
work and it's a good budget. Yep. All in favor of resolution 25-10?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of fiscal year 2026-27 medical insurance renewal. Aaron, you got that? do you?
yeah, I got that. It's in the packet on the screen. So for those of you who were here, medical insurance was kind of like for everybody's out of control. 2 years ago, we were able to get into a governmental pool with counties and cities that reduced our premiums by 40%. Year 2, we had a 0% increase. In year 3, this was a 2.91% increase. Part of the program is part of the premiums that we pay and the employees pay goes into a pool account that we have full control over. And so we've had a really healthy year, so we've built that up enough. Those are what pays out claims and things like that above and beyond. We are partial self-funded. So even though the well-marked part went up 2.91%, our pool amount is healthy enough that we're recommending to the employees it's a 0% increase overall. So we still have some things related to dental, eye, life, disability that we're working through. Hopefully have that to you next meeting, but there's a lot of entities that health insurance is double-digit increases. And if we weren't in the pool, it would have been about a 9%. So basically there's 5,000 members, 13,000 total belly buttons, they call them in the plan. 20 some counties, 20 some cities that are involved. So we're pretty pleased we can present this while other entities are having a hard time with that. So that would be our recommendation to staff. And that's in the packet.
Very good. Very good. Okay, we have a motion on the medical insurance renewal. At
You
0%.
need a motion, right? Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Got any extra questions, any comments from the council? All right, all in favor of the medical insurance renewal?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Good job.
Yes.
Okay, approval of pay estimate number 8. Semi-final to Steve Harris Construction for the First Street Reconstruction Project.
Yep, so this is the second to last payment. This covers, like last time we had a change order to all the quantities that we went through with DOT. This project's funded by DOT, so we do have to include them in all of our final audit of material. So this last remaining amount, if I didn't say that. Give a number there, did I?
$29 on that.
29,782. So this gets us, this payment is everything but the $30,000 retainage to
I was
the
gonna ask about
contractor.
So there'll be one more payment plus
payment.
retainage.
So our total amount to the top of this page. So the original bid was 2.6 million. And everything said and done with is 2.5. So we're about 100,000 under was originally bid, which isn't, Paul's done enough projects with communities it's usually higher. So there were some decisions this council made on where to put the trail, which reduced some costs. So we've tried our best to, and and there were some water mains that we didn't have to relocate. We thought they were shallower than they were. So there was some of that's due to the decrease, but it's a great project. Got a lot of good comments on it. So looking for that approval, and then we'll move to finaling it out.
I would motion approval of the pay estimate number 8 to Steve Harris Construction for the First Street reconstruction project in the amount that was mentioned.
That was
Second.
all right. Thank you, Gary and Mark. Got a first and a second. We have any other comments on the payout? I think they still did great work.
Yeah, they did.
All right, all in favor of the pay estimate number 8?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Okay. Approval of number 8, or G, I'm sorry. Approval of engineering agreement with DGR for the C Street Water Main Improvements and West Ridge Road Extension Project.
Yeah, well, Jason wants to chime in on this one, but yeah, this is the projects we were talking about with the DNR SRF funds. We've got undersized mains and some lead lines likely along C Street from basically 2nd up to 8th. So this would be the design contract for it. We've been doing some preliminary things. We've come back to you to determine what we wanted to actually construct. We had the sewer as an option, and we've taken that out for now. That's on C Street, and then West Ridge Road will be up by the concrete plant, getting that extended with water and sewer and all the way out to Ridge Road. So we got to turn them loose to get that design so we can get everything bid early in the construction year. So, and this is all funded through the planning and design loan, which is 0% over 3 years. Those design funds will get lumped into the construction bonds. So I think that's about it.
Good.
Is there a development area left on West Ridge Road? I mean, why are we extending sewer and water out there?
Sewer and water through, well, yeah, it ends at the water plant, or at the, sorry, concrete plant.
Yeah.
So just getting it out to the edge and then the street, getting that out. So we have some buildings out there that are not on sewer.
Not on that.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are actually 4 additional lots that are
Still
undeveloped.
Thank you.
Yep.
That'll help the development of that area.
Should.
All righty. We got a motion and somebody make a motion on the DGR improvement.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
That's Mark and Kurt. Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
We don't put this out for bids. How does that work?
Well, the construction project will be put
Will
out
be
for
bid
bids.
out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the DGR's been the ones that worked on our water system engineering study, or that's why it's based on the water. They've done our water distribution model and our updated, I guess, long range plan. So they've been involved, which is why that they're.
Okay.
Yeah, we do use other engineering companies for different things.
And they can get started on it
Yeah,
right away.
they have been. Yeah, they've been
Okay.
working. Yep.
That's great.
Any more comments? Okay, got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, but motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to ordinances. Ordinance 771, amending chapter 23 of the Code of Ordinance to decrease Parks Board membership, second reading. Comment back there?
I'll motion ordinance seven
Okay.
seventy-one
It's all good.
to decrease park membership, second reading.
A second.
Any further discussion? And this is just to help the Parks Board get a
Yeah.
quorum easier. Okay, no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. All right, very good. Okay, now we'll move on to ordinance 770, amending chapter 77 of the Code of Ordinances, regulating personal electric vehicles classified as motorized scooters, electric bicycles, and other personal transport vehicles, second reading. So the reading is just to inform whatever's, I'm assuming you're all here for that. So when we have ordinances, we have a first, second, and a third reading. So you put it out on the first reading and you have like, so you have changes and some, takeouts and inputs, and that goes into the second one, which also handles like the first. And then it goes to the third. And if the third passes, then it's set as an ordinance. I explained that pretty clear, I hope.
Yeah, we're not.
So
we're not.
in the second reading right now, we're just, we want this just to be a very nice cordial meeting. So we can hear inputs that maybe we overlooked. Maybe there's something that we know that somebody might say is like, well, according to state laws and this, that, so this is gonna be a great community conversation, but we'll call it, as we'll call it, a ComCon, I guess. So we'll open it up to the public shortly, but council needs to discuss first. And then when we open it up to the public, we'll give you 3 minutes to speak, and please come to the podium, state your name and where you live, please. Okay? So I hope this is a learning process for all of us, and it will be educational. So does council have any further comments on this from what we've developed from the get-go and what's been put out to the public?
Thing that I was kind of looking at too is talking to some other people over the course of the last 2 weeks that would be, I think, very beneficial. I haven't mentioned this to Chief yet or anything like that, but or getting with Chad at the schools, but in some kind of conjunction with a safety class can be set up. So we've got young riders that answer any questions. Hey, Chief, rules of the road, anything like that. They're just kind of.
So as of this morning, I was informed by Chief Mueller
Okay.
that Officer Hutzel was with a group of fifth graders in the DARE program, and he explained the safety rules and
Okay.
all those, and then he's been going to classrooms and trying to help teach in the classrooms also to get the young youth involved in education of right and wrong of driving, the stop signs, the respect to pedestrians. So yes, that's been covered.
Perfect. Thank you.
And then I believe Chad called you earlier this morning, Chad Jansen, the superintendent of schools. And at the end of the season, school year, they have a big pep rally or whatever they do. And he's going to try and put a big class together where he'll teach this also. So it'd be like a bike rodeo type, quote unquote type thing.
Sure.
So there'll be a lot of educational at the end of the school year, so that leads into the summer.
Good timing on that.
I think that's great time.
What are we, about 30 days till school's out? Ish.
Oh, don't say that.
I'm sorry.
Parents want to be.
You're
thinking
just
about
gonna
that.
bring us all down. We got kids in school.
My son's a teacher too, so I know he's counting down the days, so.
I just want to kind of emphasize that e-bikes to me are more on the adult side. So I'd kind of like to leave some of that off to the side as far as how we need to apply this towards the youth.
Mhm.
So any more comments on the,
I think that's a good distinction, because I think a lot of people are taking it to the extreme where we're going to regulate bike use
everything?
in everything in town, and that's not what's going on. And we do appreciate all the comments that have been made in various forms. It does help us get that perspective and maybe change some of these parts.
Yeah.
It's an education, and I think we've been really good about trying to be upfront in the community and saying, here's what's going on, folks. Please let us know what you got.
I would say, I would echo that, just the feedback in all forms is very much appreciated, because, you know, you all bring perspectives that we don't have or that we may not have thought about. So I think that's been really, really good.
Yep, very good. And this has come upon because there has been, most of us have witnessed a lot of unsafe activities. There's a lot of community citizens that are concerned. It's statewide, it's in every city. Every city is trying to develop something to make things safer on our trails and sidewalks and streets. The state legislature had something put in a House file, but they pulled it out because they couldn't make it standard for all communities in the state of Iowa. So every city and town in the state of Iowa has a deal where they call homeschool or not
Home rule.
home rule.
Yeah.
Home rule, where we know our community better than anybody in the state of Iowa. So we are allowed to develop something to make our community safe until something might put together at the state, and then if it doesn't match the state, then we have to take some things out and readjust. But right now we are just working under home rule to keep our kids and whatever safe.
Honestly, wouldn't it be easier if there was there were just state guidelines, because.
Well, that's what they're
just,
trying
you know,
to
that's-
develop, but they
that's
just,
the hard-
well, you get RAGBRAI involved, because then they eliminates a lot of their stuff that they can do. There's a organization called Bike Iowa. They're the ones that are really trying to push and put something together. So it's not just us.
So far, it looks like Ankeny, Waukee, Ames, and Waterloo have already taken action.
But I think West Des Moines has also.
And there's others looking at it.
Yes, yeah. Good call, Mark. Just reading some of the social media. I appreciate all the comments. Trust me, I read every one of them. I didn't overlook any of them. There's some good inputs. I'd like to ask the council about registration and fees. Because I believe that people read registration, they automatically put fee in there. But I don't think that's the case.
I think the original the conversation that we had was to register, have that registration serve as an opportunity to be able to track the devices, obviously, too, then if they're stolen, that sort of thing, as well as just then if they're registered, that would provide an opportunity to provide education with it. You're registering. Great, here's this packet of, this sheet of information with the kind of the rules of the road, guidelines, that sort of thing. So more an opportunity for education and accountability. I thought that sort of what everybody else was thinking.
Yeah, definitely.
Not a fee.
For them to come in, like you said, register them, track them, help that a little bit, but not only that, but and a copy of the current rules which are going on. Fees, there's never been a dollar figure discussed with that. It's, you know, I read some comments on social media that it's a money grab to the city. There would be no fees
100%
to
no.
register a scooter or a bike or anything like that. So it's in there, and you said it's kind of, it's a vanilla thing in the ordinance that can be said, but I don't think we've never talked about, hey, it's $20 to register this or anything. It's more about educational. Here's a copy of the rules. I mean, if anybody that has a golf cart that's been registered, town, I have one. I came in and registered it, and I got a copy of the rules, where we can go, where we can't go, and I leave that just in case my kids are back and they want to ride it somewhere. And in the golf cart says, okay, I can't take it on South Lake or South Lewis. Can't have it on First Street, can't have it on 8th Street or down in Dogwood. So it's just more of a, hey, this is what's going on. Not everybody did it. So, but never was there a fee discussed, planned, or anything like that. So just more, like Sherry said, educational, getting everybody a copy of the rules and trying to make, you know, our number one goal for this, when we set out talking about this well over a year ago, was just the overall safety of the community, not only for the kids, but God forbid something tragic would happen, the person's in that car, you know. So it's just, I think everybody in here has probably seen a close call or one or two. I know I've witnessed a half a dozen of them in the last year. So that's our number one goal, guys, is just trying to keep the community, the kids, the parents, the people driving cars safe. Doesn't miss anything on that.
No, I think you did a good job.
Any more things to discuss that we've put out,
How's this book?
I think that summarizes sort of where we are to this point.
so right now, if we go under registration requirement, we're looking at putting a line through fees.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But registration would happen, correct?
Yes.
And I would suggest having that at the police department.
I couldn't hear you back.
You, registered with you at the police department. Or at your house, wherever.
Did we have a hearing on our insurance? The only time.
Yeah, health insurance, yeah.
All right, so do we have any more to discuss before we open it up? Okay,
Board comments.
we'll open it up to people who have comments and just be cordial. But anybody wants to come first?
Wait, let me just get here for this part.
Welcome.
That's
Hold on, clean down over there like.
first up, first interview.
Yeah, I know.
I've been in the district for, since 2018. I've been very employed. I've just been in the district since 2018. Part of the reason we moved to Sergeant Bluff was the small town community. All the towns you just mentioned are much larger than what we are here in Sergeant Bluff. So I am all about keeping the kids safe. I mean, I just had a very emotional experience with my niece. So I'm all for safety of the kids. But I also don't want to take away the freedom of being a kid. This is a small community. You'll see kids riding bikes, they're walking and riding their scooters to and from practices because mom and dad are working. Most of us are two families working, or two parents working in a home. I am not against regulations whatsoever. So I know there's 134 comments or something out there on your Facebook post. I read every one of them too. I felt very attacked in several. Basically insinuating that all of us are terrible parents. We're not educating our children. We're not wanting to keep our kids safe. All of those are false. We all want our children to be safe. That's bottom line. It's interesting to me that the focus gets placed on just the children not being safe and following rules. I love Officer Hutzel. This is amazing that he's in the schools doing these things. I'm all for the city charging a fee. If you want to put on a safety course and you need a fee to pay for that, by all means do it. Let the kids earn a safety sticker. We do the best we can as parents. I can tell you firsthand, my boys probably are going to listen more to you than they are to me. or Officer Mueller back there than me. So I'm all for that.
Okay,
Um,
right.
It's just what it is. I think what was put out is a little harsh. I think that's a lot. I do appreciate your openness and willingness to listen to us talk. And not, I did not feel attacked by any of you. So I appreciate the open forum. I know there's a lot of parents here that want to share their feedback with you too. Thank you for the explanation of the second and the third reading. I had no idea what that meant. So I came in tonight thinking I'm like gonna have to defend everything before you put this into rules.
No,
I
because of
appreciate-
what we listen to you and we can actually apply all that to,
Yep.
to the third reading.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep. Thank
And
you.
a lot of the rules also come out of Iowa DOT. But it's not, it's something we just didn't make up. Some of these come from bigger agencies. Anybody else?
My name's Diane Woodford and I live on Silver Lane in Golden Flats. And I'm not pointing fingers at parents at all. I was a teacher for 37 years. Kids are kids. But our street has two curves. It's a great street for a racetrack, for adults and for kids on scooters and stand-up scooters. And there have been many near misses of something tragic happening on our street. And it's not a very long street, but it's the corners that make it so you can't see, the kids can't see the cars coming and the cars can't see the kids coming. And we were just sitting out in our driveway one night and there were 3 kids on a mini scooter going back and forth. We saw 3 kids on a stand-up scooter going around those corners, and they cut the corners like it's a racetrack, which means they're in the opposite lane of where they should be. I think a class, and I agree if it's a fee that the kids have to earn to take that class and understand how fortunate they are to have those little machines and how they need to be respectful of the traffic and the street situation. And, you know, they can't zigzag and we just don't want to pick somebody up hurt in the middle of our street. So I appreciate your time and looking into this and taking time to really think it through. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll go then. Corey Harrison, Paramount Circle. Echo some of the same sentiments. You know, I'm all about safety. I think limiting where they can operate, safety equipment, all that stuff. I think that's fine. Registration, I appreciate no fees. I think that's good. I would take exception to that. I don't think there's any need for a fee for our kids to use a toy or a bike. And I guess my other exception to what's out there right now is the age restrictions. They do seem kind of excessive. You know, we give our kids, you know, they can get a school permit at 14 years of age, so they can drive a car to school, but we can't let them ride an e-scooter or e-bike till then. Seems a little over the top to me. I guess if we are going to put an age restriction on it, is there any way we could include, you know, an allowance for, you know, adult supervision? If we're saying it's 14, but I've got a 12-year-old, can he still ride it? You know, he's got an adult supervising him. So that'd be one thing that I put out there. Yeah, I guess that's what I got.
Do you know what size of e-scooter it has?
I guess I'll say it right now, and my kids don't even have an e-scooter. You know, my oldest is only 6, so don't even know if we'll ever get one. But just reading what was out there, it seemed a little over the top.
Okay.
Thank
you, Corey.
We have talked about the age a lot. It started out as 10 and there were quite a few comments that 10's too young. They really don't pay attention as well as you do when you're 12 and 14. So that's kind of where we ended up in the particular one we in now. it's a tough call, you know, is it 8, is it 10? I don't know.
Well, I guess I would say, is that a call for city council to make or each parent to make? Who knows the kids?
And each thing has different. Oh.
Yeah, no.
For 3 minutes.
I promise.
There is no.
3 minutes starts now.
No. Oh, man, haven't met my family, so, okay, my name is Alicia Elder. I live on 610 Topaz Drive, so I'm in the middle of it all. So I'll talk about age after I get some things out. So, my struggle is that, I have 2 sides of the coin. One, as a person who walks like 4 times a day with a dog, it is a struggle when kids are zooming and in and out, and they're at the park and they're on the walking trail. And yes, they don't know the law of the land. So it's nice to hear that we've talked about pairing with education. I love that. Again, I love the idea of a fee. I would gladly pay that for safety. However, I say that, and as an educator myself, and I teach teachers how to teach, the issue is never the parents that are here, the parents that are being represented. It's the parents who let their kids go, who don't read city ordinances, and they're not going to pay the fee. They're going to send their kids. So I'm going to be the rule follower. They're going to be the rule followers. And now our kids don't get to play like the kids who don't. My other thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way is that there is ordinances that they're not allowed to be on the trails and in the park. However, there's such a heavy presence there already. So again, back to the teacher in me, if we were to just squash it now, would it be as big as it is currently? I don't know.
Sorry.
Do you need to?
No, your wife's over there. That doesn't count against her. No, it doesn't count.
By 3 minutes.
That's on camera.
Ouch. Make me look skinny.
It's like, yeah.
That's all I care about. And then my next thing about age limit. So, my family is really into drag racing, and my 6-year-old could be in a dragster right now. So at what point is my child can do more dangerous things than this? It's hard. And to see that there's an age limit, it's soul crushing for someone who can do something more dangerous out there in the world. And it's allowed. Now, granted, there's a little bit more safety when it comes to drag racing, which is surprising. And if you ask my husband, that's very true. So I just want you to consider taking away that age limit and thinking about how the presence of the community is not always going to follow this. Sometimes I don't even put my dog on a leash, you know, saying, don't. You know what I'm just saying? Do that fine.
Yep.
So just things to think about. So thank you for your time and educating us all. So,
Thank you for coming.
Okay.
Thank you. Still got 45 seconds.
Oh, yeah. That's all.
Hello, I'm Scott Swearinger. I'm also in Claremont Circle. A couple things. I've got 2 kids that are on e-scooters and stuff like that. Nice thing about it, they're not in the basement. The nice thing with these e-scooters and e-bikes and stuff like that, they are going back out and enjoying the weather. I do think that there's a little bit of like the park ordinance and stuff like that where they can't ride their scooters or their e-bikes on there. That's where the baseball fields are, the swimming pools are, soccer fields are. Why are we taking that away from them? We give them these amenities to play with their friends and their families and so on. But we're saying either walk or ride a bike. Both my kids on the e-scooters, they're 11 years old. They wear helmets. They do like to go fast. But when there's people around, they slow down. And so like most of us have already said, the kids here or the parents here, They can kind of regulate their kids, but once again, when the kids don't see mom and dad, they're gonna do what they want. I love the aspect of registration. Fee or not fee, don't really care. The aspect of taking a course to get the registration, I think would be wise. That way they're participating. If they want it, they'll learn it. If they don't want it, you don't get to drive it. So, but like I said, that's where we're kind of set now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Denny Winter, I live on Golden Drive. It'll be 16 years. Here. I think mine are more questions for this council, because I've been seeing a lot that you're amending or revising this ordinance 77, chapter 77.
It
So
was
it took
developed in
me-
2004.
Yep, it took me quite a while to find the ordinance that you were referring to in there. And when I did, I was reading it and I actually thought there was some pretty good information in that ordinance already. You said, I'm sorry, it was written in 2004. Was that okay? Which probably doesn't pertain to the, I'm sure they didn't have.
That's why we're
e-bikes.
bending it to add this to.
Right, but there was mention of them, and east or not but motorized. But I think some of the things that I see, and I went back because as a parent, I would expect, and somebody that's lived in this town for 16 years, I would expect people to be like beating down my door, like, we are sick of Easton and all your kids riding around. I have not heard that. I have not seen anything in a school bulletin about, hey, watch out if you're riding your e-scooter, if you're riding your e-bike, make sure you're stopping. I have not seen anything. I'm thrilled to hear about Hudson going to classes. I know that there's been police officers that have stopped and talked to my kids, not even about that, when they're just on the e-bike. The police in this town have such good relationships with these kids. It's unreal to me. I think in the last ordinance, there was, hey, if you're caught doing something you're not supposed to do, we can give you a $10 ticket. I think that's great. If my kid runs a stop sign, give him a $10 ticket. And you know what he's going to have when he brings home that $10 ticket? No more e-bike for a certain amount of time. Plus he's paying the $10. There has to be consequences. So when I see the ordinance, I think a little bit more explanation maybe to the public before you throw something that looks like this out would have been really helpful, because I think a lot of us are learning a bunch tonight that we didn't already know. And I think we're all very supportive of what you guys are trying to do. I am in agreement. As the parent that pays for these, to me, unless there is a DOT regulation, which I'm searching before I let them buy it, we're trying to do our best. It should be up to us as the parents. Are they ready for that? Or are they not ready for that? My two older kids, who are now going to be 21, have Razor scooters and Razor dirt bikes. This has not been an issue. And that would have been a little bit past 2004. But they followed that code. And I told them, hey, helmets, everything on the ordinance that is already there, those older kids were for. Yeah. The only other suggestion that I will make, and I'm sorry if I'm over time. Have you ever considered getting a little committee of these 12 and 13-year-old kids together and saying, what do you guys think is right? We want you to help us write this ordinance. Because if you do that and you include them, the ones that are included, there's nothing worse than your buddy being like, here, you just ruined it for all of us. That's, I think, a very big piece of this too, is getting those kids involved a little bit more at a higher level, because some of them are 13 and 14 and they would understand that. So, but thank you for the education. I appreciate it.
Like even focus grouping, then, you know,
Yes,
having them
like-
talk about what does that,
Yeah.
yeah,
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Just let them talk.
yeah. Giving them some buy-in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about something a little bit different.
Nope. We can only talk about what we're talking
No,
about on the
that's-
agenda.
But it's about this.
Okay,
It's about instances that I actually have, and my background is civil engineering, and I used to have a traffic engineering department. First Street has stop signs on the trail, but not everywhere. I've had at least one instance where a motorcyclist who was obviously an adult went through a stop sign in front of me, not hardly any further than where those cars are parked, at probably 40 miles an hour across Windsor Way and First Street.
On the trail or
On
the
the-
street?
On the trail,
Trail.
he was riding on the trail. Also had two instances where young kids were riding scooters you can stand on below those stop signs that are actually there. They were put in obviously with First Street. There are stop signs on Windsor Way, both ends, but there's posts on Old Lakeport Road and north on whatever the street is, First Street to the north, and even Quail Road.
Wild Ian, yep.
But you go from Fairway East, there's three places where there's no stop signs on the trail. And there's three signals. All I'm saying is we should look at, apparently those stop signs are not the right size. There's signs that are up there are like this size. They should be 18 inches. Aaron and I have talked about this. All I'm suggesting is you should look at places where there are major trails and major crossings. The scooters are being ridden like a traffic engineering thing to me on the big trails. So we should think about traffic engineering controls on the trails, especially on major streets like First Street. And I live on Constant Circle, Paul Stenson.
thanks, Paul.
Thank you. You got a follow-up? No. Oh, you got,
Reference the stop signs on Lakeport. They were stolen.
they were stolen?
Dolan?
Yeah, Aaron told me that.
They need to stop that.
Stop stealing the stop signs. I'm done.
Hey, Rick?
Rick Sarcos, I live at 620 Coniston Circle. I live actually at the corner of Coniston and Windsor Way. I'd actually like to make a comment on the age that I think the ages actually take away what it means to live in Iowa. They seem really old. I grew up all over in several towns in Iowa and rode pedal bikes from the time I was 5, so it seems like the age restrictions are extreme for a state like Iowa. It takes away from what it means to be a kid growing up in Iowa, and that's a great thing. I think we don't want to lose that. My comment tonight actually relates to the table that's in the ordinance
That,
that lists
One
speed
here?
limits.
Yeah.
It lists for e-scooters and actually e-bikes up to 20 miles an hour. And I think that's problematic. To go 20 miles an hour on a sidewalk is, I think you're going at a speed that's designed for a street. I'm not opposed to scooters or anybody biking on a sidewalk. Again, that's what it means to grow up in Iowa. But to go 20 miles an hour is extreme, I think. The Iowa code defines what sidewalks are for and their intended use as pedestrians. That's Iowa code 321.172. That table changes the intended use. It actually changes the definition in the Iowa code. The intended use is for pedestrians. But there's two areas that are actually problematic. One is actually e-bikes, which is according to the table, would be allowed at the recreation complex to go 20 miles an hour. Which means you have people doing 20 miles an hour on the circle trail around the recreation complex that has a lot of walkers. And walkers and bikes, and I'm a huge pedal biker, they do not mix. They just don't, and I'm a huge walker also with my wife. And then on, as it relates to the e-scooters, again, up to 20 miles an hour on a sidewalk seems problematic.
Yeah, if I could just clarify what the design speed, it's not how fast that we allow them to go. It's the design speed is what the manufacturers of each of those levels say that is that range. So
How fast
I
do
mean,
you allow them to go?
well, that's not really addressed in here, which maybe is confusing. Yeah,
It
this
is in later part of the ordinance,
It does.
speed is appropriate for the conditions, so
Yeah.
it's very general. We don't have a specific number because there's a lot of different areas that
Sure.
you're riding in. And so that's gonna be up to law enforcement to determine, okay, this person is exceeding what is safe for the condition.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of the great ideas about educating these kids and having once been a 10-year-old or 12-year-old boy myself. There's no speed that I think I thought was unsafe at that age. And that was on
same
a
with
pedal.
drag racing, I guess.
I mean, that was on a pedal bike. They have a battery powered bike would be terrific, but again, and this is also e-bikes, which are listed for adults. What's appropriate around walkers, especially when you're supposed to yield to pedestrians, and few bikers do. You're supposed to, as a biker, more or less come to a stop around pedestrians. I mean, you go very slowly, and this table, which might make its way out into the hands of people who would use it, makes it seem like, hey, I can go up to 20 miles an hour. 20 miles an hour is extremely fast when you're around walkers, which is over at the rec complex, and again on a sidewalk. But again, I think the age, I started riding a bike when I was 4 in Iowa, so these seem really restrictive, but I would ask the council to please look at the speed listed and set some speed limits that are reasonable. Because those battery powered, they can go very fast. I've seen kids whipping down the sidewalk on Windsor next to where I live, easily doing 25 miles an hour. It's not safe for them. That's up there to their choice. But it's just not a good idea on sidewalks. Sidewalks are primarily meant for pedestrians. But let them rip on streets, So just part of being a kid in Iowa. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Keisha Conway. I live in the Oak Hill development. I have 3 sons, 10, 12, and 14. My 12-year-old is my most active child. He meets up with his friends to go fishing. He goes down to Quick Star, hangs out. As a single parent, it's very hard for me when I work a 7:30 to 5. I rely on the e-bike and the scooter to get him where he needs to go. As far as practice, if he wants to go hang out with his friends. Now, I'm all for the safety, like everybody else said, a safety class, a registration fee. I'm all for paying for that, letting them get their certificate, however that may be. But like I said, as a single parent and not being able to be there to take him where he needs to go, I feel like the age restriction is a little much. But again, he did have a tragic accident back in October, but that hasn't stopped me from, letting him ride it as far as him being safe and everything like that. So I think educating them more and letting them take that class would be beneficial for a lot of children under the age of 14. So
What was the age again, please?
I have 10, 12, and 14. I have one that has an e-scooter and one that has a bike. So I have both in my house and they both. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I just got a question. I'm 60 years old. I'm born and raised in Sergeant Bluff. I lived on a farm 2.5, 3 miles east of town. I always rode my bike to school. I rode my bike to Cub Scouts. I rode my bike to football practice. This is to educate me. Is it a fad to have these electric bikes? What's wrong with manual bikes and keeping our kids healthy? It's just, I gotta have it. I gotta have it. I just,
I used to ride the.
Okay.
But.
it's like I said, it's just education for
You
me.
got a backpack. Bikes are very good for.
When
If
the
they drag them.
hoverboards were popular, the hoverboards were
I-
everywhere. I mean, cell phones, iPads, tablets.
It's just the thought of this came in my mind.
Yeah.
I'm into manual stuff. I'm sorry.
Old school.
Danny, you,
Can pedal or throttle, or if it dies on you, you're pedaling home. So
I also think a lot of it's efficiency. You know, these kids are running on tight schedules, whether it's from school, getting home for dinner, get to the next practice, getting home to get to bed, get homework done. I think some of that is that they're a little faster, right? Yeah, true. I mean, much like us, we're running on tight schedules. My kids are too.
And the faster the merry-go-round went, the faster the funner it was. So I mean, that's how I kind of see some of this too. It's like, I gotta go faster.
And I get that. I mean, my e-scooters have sat in my garage since March 19th, when my niece had her accident, because my kids won't wear their helmets. Guess what? We learned a valuable lesson. We either wear the helmets or we don't wear them. I'm all for regulation. I get it. But they're also kids, and some lessons are learned harder than others. Her son had an accident also. But they're boys, and I'm gonna tell you, they're gonna be boys.
I'm surprised I made it this far.
We have a ton of great amenities here in Starter Bluff. The city has done a great job with the pond. The parks are clean, the pool is open. They're doing friggin' great work over here at the baseball complex. Like, I want my kids to be able to use that, but I'm not always available to be able to get them to and from. And that's, for me, that's the biggest thing. So, sorry, that was an extra 3.
That's fine. That's it.
No. Yeah.
But
I
I
think you
think,
make a very valid, sorry.
no,
You make a very valid point that there are single parents out there that need help.
Yeah.
With transportation, and we are smaller, so we don't have.
Yeah.
Bigger ways for them to get places.
Yeah, and when I got multiple boys and multiple things, and I'm working till 5, I can't get them to every practice that I'm only one person.
And it's cheaper to buy a scooter than it is to buy a car.
Yeah.
And-
Sergeant Bluff has a lot of really good trails to get them to point A, relatively safe.
And we are really
And I
trying
was
to
just gonna
develop
say,
the
that is-
trails and get them all connectivity and
yeah, I was just gonna say, that's part of one of the goals.
The
too,
safe-
to get
safe
the
routes to
safe routes
schools.
To get everybody.
I used to be on
get
that
it all-
committee and then I took this over. Now Sherry is in that spot for
Yeah, but we,
complete streets and safe routes at school. And that's all about trail connectivity and to get around safer.
so if we have those routes, then it's providing the ways to let the kids use them safely.
But I'm gathering
Use
about
them safely.
90% of this conversation, and it's all about education.
And
that's-
you're educating us as well. so
Absolutely,
We really
yeah.
appreciate that too.
Can I make one more comment without going up there?
Breaking the mayor.
So I think there's education on the children's part, but I also think there's education on the public and the adults. I was walking my kids to the park on their bicycles pedaling last night with their helmets on, and both my boys about got taken out by a dog on retractable leash. Right, like this dog is just running out in front of my kids on the bike. Like, that's also a pedestrian way where maybe it's a little bit of,
Oh, and there is an ordinance for length of a leash.
okay, so there's an ordinance.
So
for-
retractable ones, if they're letting them out too far, then they're going beyond that.
So in situations like that, this adult should have known, etiquette, whatever, etiquette on the sidewalk. They didn't. My kids about me. And then on my way home, 2 grown adults on e-scooters fly down Topaz, just through the 4-way stop. Adults doing these things, right? So it's not just the children. I think there can be public education. Somebody else mentioned that earlier, in general, like, let's be cognizant of each other. This morning I was going down, Old Lakeport. I go Old Lakeport to get back to the interstate, and a mom was on her cell phone and rolled through the intersection and almost hit. because she was on her phone. You know, and it's like,
State's a hand-free state.
it is, but we're not all gonna follow the rules and not everybody's watching, right? So there's things that we all just need to be better as adults, as children. We need to educate our children. It's not just about kids. They're not running the streets. From my knowledge, we don't have a big issue with kids vandalizing things, causing problems, hurting each other, wrecking property. They're out having fun. They're playing with their friends at the parks. They're doing the things that we want kids to be doing. If that changes, by all means, like, find them, do whatever, you know, valuable lesson needs to be, but for the most part, they're just wanting to be kids. And I want them to be kids. Safely. All right, I'm done for reals.
Hello. Hey. Dustin Estabrook. I live on Stable Path. I just recently joined the Parks and Rec Board, and I'm also the youth football director here in town. And I'm all for safety. But I think what we have to do is really look at, you know, the age restrictions. That's the only, you know, I'm all for helmets and stuff like that. But I mean, you know, generally in sports, even with our numbers for soccer and stuff, yeah, they're up a little bit, but they had to extend it just because numbers have gone down. And I don't want to take anything away from just saying that if we don't have an age restriction that, you know, people won't sign up or will, but I just think in general, you know, a lot of these people out here are coaches too with me, and they do depend on either a bike. I mean, my son rides a bike or his scooter. So I mean, I'm not against bikes either. I'm all for helmets, but I wish that maybe you guys would look at the age. I think that's a little too extreme. Thank you.
Are you primarily talking like the first three up there? 12, 14, 14?
Yes.
Is that kind of where you're all at?
Yeah.
That's the big issue?
By 14, they're got a school. They can't be
Well,
where the rest of the
That's true, but they gotta take a class to
get
be
your
able to
permit.
drive and everything else like that.
So if there is a class that we could provide for the scooters, then let's do it.
Yeah, so how many people know what size of e-scooter their kid is riding?
My kids have a class 1.
Is anybody over a class 1 that's in here?
My class 2 for my kids.
Oh, I like Mono.
He's
class 2.
Mine's 13 years old. 13.
So that's what I'm getting at, how old? Class
So-
2?
I saw a video report from Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls has a major trail all the way around river. They have a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit
On the trail.
on the trail.
So that's classified for 2.
And then police officer talked about it for a second day.
I do know that South Dakota on some of their state trails, they do not allow
Oh.
throttled vehicles.
Young lady, you mentioned your children, 10, 12, and 14.
Yes,
So what scooters do they have?
they have the class 2.
And one has an
14-year-old,
e-bike as
yeah,
well.
The 10-year-old is on the class 2?
On the class 2. And my 14-year-old is on the class. Oh.
Sorry about that. Trying to make it bigger there.
And then my 14-year-old has a class 2. Yeah. As well.
Okay.
A class 2 e-bike and a class 2 scooter. My 10-year-old does not have one.
Where did these?
Oh, he
come
doesn't
I
have,
have a 7.
Just so they,
Class
yeah,
2.
but what did they come from Iowa DOT?
and you think he's pretty good at,
She does.
This information.
We
will
usually
come-
put in our neighbor. It's not, she doesn't.
I didn't mean,
I have a 9-year-old also.
I should probably argue that my 9-year-old is more responsible than my 12-year-old at any given day. So that's why I think the age thing, I mean, we talked about it, right? As they get older, do they get more responsible or do they get more daring?
Daring.
Right? So it's like one of those things, but it's all about teaching them responsibility and the rules and regulations and expecting that they're gonna follow them. If they don't, there's consequences. You know? My expensive scooters are sitting in the garage because they don't wanna follow my rules.
But I would like to say too, so to be honest, we have bought both the e-scooter and then an e-bike. Because this came out and I cried and we originally bought a bike, but it does not go up to 20 miles an hour. You can change the regulator so it goes 7 miles an hour, 8 miles an hour.
Okay.
It looks hilarious when I ride it, but I mean, there's just so many ways to manipulate some of this stuff that it's hard to put the miles per hour with an age. I mean,
So a lot of these, for those of you that might not have one or don't know, they run off. And the app allows the parent to either regulate the speed that it can go. Now, might have a 12-year-old that figures out how to break into that app and changes that. But as parents, we can say top speed is X, if that's all I want them to go. Again, it can be manipulated that way. But it's really up to the parents' discretion. We know our kids the best.
Does the app map out the route that your kid is on?
It can map out the route that they're on.
For example, I was coming down Port Mill Road near Smiles Dental Building. And there was 3 boys that ran across the Sergeant Bluff landscaping on these e-motor bikes and straight across the street into Airview Drive. And I stopped and yelled at them, and one kept going and told me I was number 1.
So I suppose.
So I'm like, see, that is why we're kind of brought a lot of this up, because of things like that.
And I hate for a select.
And I'd hate to be a parent hit my own kid.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that the behaviors of a few are affecting others.
And that happens even in sporting
why we're
events.
here.
I mean, if you're on a team's a team, one person does this, you all run.
And they won't, you know, so
Yes, you're correct.
I love the idea of.
How old do you think those kids were?
Oh, it was kind of dusk, so I'd probably say, I'm gonna say 10.
They have lights.
Not that I could see. Oh, and I about ran into a tandem on a scooter that had no lights in the dark, down the middle of the street. That's why this has all come up.
and I've had that happen too, where kids were chasing my child on a moped looking thing at a park. But yet here I am trying to get this pass, you know?
I know,
So-
and I'm retired military, and I had to wear reflective gear from dusk to dawn. And these kids are running around with nothing. That's what makes me scared. And my kid's a 35-year-old now, and he's a Boy Cub for Eagle Scout. And
Ask if we were to offer a class.
but
If
They're
we-
not doing- That's. I would wanna know it, and if that,
But I know somebody said once they're away from the parents and they act all differently. And that's natural. So, yeah.
The majority of these people in this room know my children, and they're probably gonna shoot me a text and say, hey, like, you need to talk to. Not gonna say his name.
Rosie.
About making sure they're following the rules.
What were you gonna say? You were gonna.
Oh, I was just gonna ask if we were to offer a class, like, I would probably be helpful to know the best times to be able to, because you're talking, Sheena, to the point of how busy everybody is, right? Everybody's got busy lives, busy schedules, all the things. So, let's think about when that class and
how
a
would they get
format
there?
for that class, and, just thinking about the logistics of that, that's another whole piece to consider, because
Yeah.
I think we're talking about the importance of education. So how do we provide that in a way that everybody can?
And I don't know if that's something. that
Be
the
involved with
department Would offer. Maybe something that they have-
Chief, would you like to come up and speak, and Rosie, maybe, and explain how the chart got developed?
If there's resources they have that need to be checked into, like who's available, how much it costs, when can we get them here, like, these guys have a.
A little committee.
Yeah.
After the
right.
police department's done, we'll wrap this up.
Well, we have some others haven't had a chance to talk to you.
Well, it's getting to be, it's education, one after another.
But if there's anything, if anybody else has.
And we'll give them one last chance, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of your guys' thoughts, what you
All right.
see, what you guys run into. What the age
You're hearing,
you're hearing, you're seeing, people calling you guys.
Mostly I'd say it's the middle school kids.
Yeah.
And so I think the education needs to start probably in grade school. And I think partnering with school is probably our best way to do that. And I say that just because we can get kids when they're at school. Nobody else has to change their schedules up or anything like that. We already have the kids there. So I think
best opportunity is to partner with the school to get this done.
Yeah, superintendent assured me that whatever that looks like, they'll make it happen, so.
And like you said, Officer Hutzel's already.
Yeah, he's already trying to go into classroom when he can. There's an opening, or he knows that the
Some of the
teachers should
DARE
be-
program.
Yeah. We threw it into DARE. Obviously, it was just brief, but because the DARE program is what it is. But we still wanted to talk about it. But Officer Elson and I talked earlier in the week, and he's gonna try to make it to a couple of classrooms each day if he can between now and the end of the year, so he can at least get some education before the summertime hits. So
Yeah. Like the whole, the rec center does their some.
So we're asking about all these programs. So who would like to volunteer to help with these programs? I mean, that's what it does come down to. It just like, then, everybody asks, but nobody wants to volunteer.
Yeah.
Some program gives all the second graders helmets yearly. I don't remember what program that was. And if that'd be a program we could resource for that.
Those were totally like Dairy Queen.
Okay,
That was a few years ago that we were doing that.
okay. So not necessarily a program. just-
no.
Right, yeah, it was just like, we saw them doing safety on their bike or driving
Okay.
nice and.
Would it be like an upset if it like tied into like the DARE program that was all like 20?
I think they're too old at their program. I think we need to hit them before that.
What do we
Yeah,
need to-
right.
Look at each.
Just because we're
Yeah, I think we
just,
should probably.
by the time we get the DARE program,
Yeah.
hopefully they've been educated by then. On that.
No, not
The other
tonight.
thing is
We
too, I don't
can
think the property.
get
tax
together
stuff, I think
and
it's
then
something we're gonna have to come up with. As a
discuss
community,
it.
what do we,
Could die.
what are the points that we want to
And
hit
then we
on
can
with the kids? What do we need to tell them?
So,
You know,
reading.
and I don't,
That-
it's not out
that's a
there yet, because
significant
everybody's struggling with this. But nobody's really got the answer. I believe the education's the answer. That, in saying that, the mayor was with me in those conversations, so.
So if you notice a child speeding through the streets on an e-bike, you can.
If we stop,
Yeah.
talk to them.
You have a conversation. I've had in the last month.
Tell them about the parking lot. Behind the rec.
Oh. So, I'm assistant chief Roosevelt and I work shifts, but. And right now I'm currently working 2 days a days and 2 days in afternoon, so I'm busy. I'm with the kids all the time.
Quit saying you're gonna run into. Listen about running.
Diane.
So anytime I see a big group of them, like I ran into. I came across about 15 to 18 of them, granted batting cages. And this was when the first reading was taking place, and I stopped and got out with them and just had a conversation and said, hey, here's the reason why. Cause they had asked, what are the rules gonna be? And I'm like, well, not set in stone yet, but here's the reason why. We're getting complaints that, not those kids specifically, but the kids on e-bikes are not being courteous to the people walking. You're speeding through parking lots and not paying any attention. You're not driving with your lights on when you're supposed to be at the after hours, of dark. And I corrected some last week at the rec center on their scooters. They had lights. They're not turning them on. They got to follow the bicycle rules. Dusk to dawn, must have front white light and a rear red light. Has to be on. So, but I ran into those. I can't. You're gonna have it, right? I'm talking with the kids, I'm just like, hey, it's your responsibility. I mean, what I've seen with the kids with the off-road e-bike stuff, they're all wearing motorcycle helmets, that is awesome. But they're also driving across private property on the grass. They're cutting through parking lots, they're not following bicycle or traffic rules. And when I see somebody do that, I correct the beat. And we have a conversation. Right now, it's just a conversation. Once an ordinance gets put through, then we're gonna start calling mom and dad. Hey, I'm out with your son or daughter. That's my attitude. Try to take care of the people as well.
Try to take care of it before we have to call parents, because
that escalates it for them too, right? So, I was a kid once, and I know that, a lot of officers in Sioux City were really nice to me and called my parents a lot. So I understand that. And I think all of us on the department have the same mentality when it comes to that. Let's try to correct it without them having to go home and say, hey, I got in trouble for something, that, you know.
Pretty much we all have kids, so we all understand, we're all parents. As far as, let me jump to something else, the way these, the speed came up is based off of the wattage, the classes for the e-scooters and e-bikes. And most of the other e-vehicles that are up in the skateboards, whatever, they're rated by class, and that is done by the manufacturers. That is not our deal, but the wattage on the power and the design speed is based off of what the manufacturer's classes are. We didn't create these numbers. These were taken from where class 1 to class 4 scooter is versus in the e-bike.
Do you ever see kids on pedal bikes cutting through, going up private property, cutting through people's grass, going where they're not supposed to be? Because my argument would
They're
be,
just saying that.
my son is Ryder McRoberts, and he can be naughty. And if he is naughty, I love a bump talk. I would love to do that on my,
We can take it out.
but he can be just as big an idiot on pedal bikes. He was doing this thing. I mean, I think when I see him in his crowd he hangs out with, I feel like they are doing pretty well. They are wearing the helmets. They mainly use these bikes to go from one house to the next. They're not like terrorizing people off the complex. I've told Ryder and his friends, I don't even want you guys at the complex because when I walk, I don't want to have my head on a swivel. I shouldn't have to. So just stay away. But these kids, that group, I feel like they're pretty good. And if they're not, feel free to tell me. But I know that there are groups that aren't good. And I feel like they're ruining it for these kids.
And that's what I told the kids.
But my main point is these pedal bikes. If I got Ryder a pedal bike, he would be doing the same things he was doing on these bikes. Right. I don't even think he might go fast sometimes. I don't think they act like idiots on these bikes.
Their bike stopped and talked to. But they were, the baseball fields or the Little League has a pile of their infield gravel or whatever. They made a ramp out of that and they were all jumping.
Did you do that when you were young?
Um,
If there was.
But see, the problem there is they kicked the dirt everywhere.
Right.
And we got a complaint process. And yes, did I? Absolutely. But I was on my property or my friend's property. We were on city property.
But the e-bikes didn't make them do it. They'd have done that with pedal bikes.
Right.
Well,
But again, we're on public property, it's not private property, and that's where problem is. If they do it on private property, that's fine. But when they're damaging public property.
Right. I see what you're saying. I agree with you. My thing is, the e-bikes aren't making these kids be naughty. They could be naughty on pedal bikes too.
They can,
That's
absolutely,
true,
but
that's fair.
the problem is with these are faster than pedal bikes.
For some,
I mean, you get up and go faster.
Yeah.
Quicker than it is from the pedal. But.
we live out on 210, so that's how Ryder, when he's in town, that's how he gets from place to place. Because I don't want to come in and get him. I get irritated when I have to make too many trips. He's got his bike and to me, it's the same as his pedal bike. It's a mode of transportation for him. And as long as he's respectful and responsible, I think that should be fine. Because if he is being an idiot, I'm gonna.
And how old is
I
he?
have a question for you.
He's 14.
I'm hearing you talk about enforcement, for lack of a better word, related to speed and property, which makes perfect sense. The ordinance also goes to 3 other levels. It must be registered. That must is a requirement, presumably to be enforced, because if it's not going to be enforced, why have it? Are you prepared to enforce that?
Absolutely, yeah. But I have to wait till the ordinance is enforcing the.
Sure, but it seems to be going to a level that goes beyond the things that we all really care about, which is safety, speed, property. there's a requirement for helmets,
As it should be.
okay?
Which is already a requirement, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
But my point is, I'm not, in all the discussion you just had, you were talking about things that I think everybody in the room cares about. And the other one is age. So again, you were talking about things that everybody cares about. I didn't hear, I didn't hear age, I didn't hear registration, which would be part of the ordinance, which seemed to be a little extreme for a small town in Iowa. In other words, if the age is 7, or I'm sorry, if the age is 10 and you see a 9-year-old riding a bike, do you?
How do I know that? I don't know their.
That's my
Until I have, until I have contact with them because they did something that drew my
Right.
attention to them.
Right.
That's when I come across the age sign.
And I think that's why people might feel the ordinance is extreme. Because it starts to take away parental.
The ordinance is not the police department.
No, I know.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. It sounds like the things that you focus on today are the things that everybody cares about. And the things that I didn't hear you say you focus on, do they necessarily need to be in the ordinance the way they are listed to that?
The registration piece, it was so that we could, as a mechanism to provide education as well, and the guidelines and the rules. So I think that's the reason
Sure.
the registration was included in the ordinance, because that would be an opportunity for education as well. In case they're not getting to the class, or they don't remember, or they need a refresher, or just another way of reaching families, parents, kids with what the guidelines are.
I think the ordinance just feels strict, feels very choking, like he said, this is a small town in Iowa and it just doesn't feel right. It feels like a violation, honestly. It feels like I'm from Homer, Nebraska, small town. He's from Waltz Hill, Nebraska, small town. This just does not seem right. It seems like you guys are trying to tell us how to parent. You're trying to tell us, like Sheena said, I felt attacked too, reading those comments. Like I'm not doing a good job as a parent. Which I think I would be harder on Ryder than the police would be, honestly.
So to counter that point, now that we got a trail system that hooks into Sioux City, it's gonna be nothing for these kids going on a trail system going to Sioux City. So then you just,
There's already a large group that come to say 2 Sergeant Bluff.
True.
or vice versa.
Yeah.
So they're making that trip. So to say it's just isolated to Sergeant Bluff, as soon as they get on that trail system, they can go all the way out to Dakota Dunes.
Right, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about.
I'm talking about small
And
town.
grass
Yes.
and the complex. That's what we're talking about.
Well, those are just examples that
Right,
I've had in the last few months,
And those are the examples I heard on Facebook.
In reference to the kids coming from Sioux City, those are the kids that I live in Sioux City, Moncton. And there's 3 individuals that are always around the Casey's area on Singing Hills, Southern Hills. And they're in the middle of Lakeport, riding their bikes. They're jumping curbs. I mean, I'm not seeing that behavior down here. Because we interact with them when we catch them. When we see something, we need to get that conversation about.
And also because the parents are saying.
And
"Don't
we're
do
not
that,
just
don't
from the
do that."
townhouse to look at him. We start the process.
Yeah, we're all trying parents that are here. We're
agree.
really gonna struggle with.
That's why
It's really. When we had an interview, I was asking.
I see.
exactly,
I just saw.
Because I feel that that's what everyone needs to hear. I would hope that when we're done here today, you guys talk to some more people. And get some more input or get some more people involved in the conversation. So we can get this thing right or the way we need to be.
So without the ordinance, you can't enforce anything if you see them. No, it's the state code, and the state code is 321.
Yep.
But if they're vandalizing
235B.
property,
Yeah, that's.
if they're, recklessly driving through the streets, you'd be able to enforce that, right?
Yes.
That's why we're at this stage.
Yeah, so without the
Helmets.
ordinance, you couldn't do that.
Because they're 8,
Sure.
10. The state code's not
They
gonna.
blow a stop sign, but they don't.
They can't write a ticket.
You can still stop them.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's no stop for correct
Right.
behavior or corrective actions, but there's a lot of things that. And the other thing is too, I don't know that I wanna write these children under state code and start a record for them in that manner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But can we educate these kids and educate parents before we do the ordinance?
That's a.
I do like your input though, because you did say you're all for education.
And for the record, I have an e-bike, so.
That's why you should be picking them up.
And we have a scooter at PD now that somebody abandoned. Picked up after 6 months, so.
So you all got the power and the speed, the design speed from the manufacturers or engineering pros, et cetera, whatever. Where did the age restriction come from? Because that can't be from, I'm just saying, we have a class 1 scooter for our 7-year-old and it's 3 to 9, right on the MS or the manufacturing suggested age limit, weight limit, et cetera. And it's 3 years old. And yeah, he's got a dirt bike since he was 3 and it was 3 years old also. So that the age restriction, I'm just curious where that came from. Is that just like a maturity thing slash?
Yeah, I think it
indulgence
was-
of that, or is that
the point-
from an expert or?
Kind of, when we started this process way back, and we were talking about it even clear back last summer, is what are we seeing? It's the younger kids, it's, most kids 13, 14, even 12 for the most part. They have a pretty good idea, hey, I've been driving mom and dad long enough, I know I gotta stop at this stop sign. But the first nice day in March, I'm going over to the walking trail, taking a right off of First Street to go on the walking trail. And if they were 10, I would be surprised. Come flying up, cross Fort Neal, go straight across or South Lewis. When the traffic, the way that they were going, we had a stoplight. So cross traffic going north and south was a green light. And with the addition of quick stars and the traffic, the semis that are coming through there, they were lucky that, and they gave no care. They just blew right through that thing. And so that's kind of where we started this process at, was going, we're seeing and we're hearing from people that it's the younger kids. Because like you said, once you get to that 12 to 14 range, you're gonna, 14 was when you can get your permit or school license. So you have to take a class, you're being educated from the DMV on that. It's just kind of where the starting point is kind of, hey, this is what we're seeing. This is what the areas that we're hearing of, from not only from these guys that we witnessed, that, the citizens call us and talk to us about, or the younger kids.
So with you, I understand all that, but my kid's not, he's 7, he's not doing
But
that.
so, yeah, I know,
my
I'm not saying
suggestion-
you're saying, but I'm saying, like what we've talked about many times, one kid doing it is it's gonna ruin it for everybody.
So my suggestion, or the only thing I wanted to say was, is there, obviously something's coming, right? There's gonna be something out of this.
Mhm.
Wherever the age restriction lands, whatever, but the people that are here that are saying, hey, we manage our kids, they know, they're gonna have consequences and we discipline them, et cetera. They're following rules. Is there a path that we can, if you're keeping the 12 plus on the class 1, is there a path where my 7-year-old, hey, he took this class, he's got a sticker, he's good to go?
And
is there a path for the people who actually care?
Yeah, and that's
want to follow the rules
Yeah.
to get, these younger kids.
And I can't speak for the rest of them, but in my thoughts, if you take the time to go through the class, get them educated, and you're talking about it and you're comfortable with it, then hey, at least we know we've talked to the parents have the rules, the kids have learned the rules. I'm fine with that.
I think that's one of the positive things that is coming
Yeah.
out of this conversation, and that's the value of having these readings to get that input. So, those are
So
things
the
that,
mayor said something about, volunteering, us or whoever volunteers. Is there a way that we can maybe go down that route of, having citizens go through a class or, us parents that want to volunteer to, put on classes before we go to this extreme of passing this bill?
That's
Well,
something we
if
can
there's
look
a
at.
if we put a program together, absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
Let me make sure I heard you right too, because I think I did, and this gentleman up front here.
Right here.
I didn't get your name at all tonight.
Oh, I'm
You did come to the podium, sir.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, he got the police, it's the police who got it.
Still a little intimidating.
Bubble.
What I said was, okay, fine, put these restrictions in place, but if my kid came and took the class and got the sticker, that it doesn't matter. I mean, that sounds like a great idea too,
Not,
you know.
I mean, I'm not
Yeah,
for making the age,
Just
basically.
basically
What I see though is if your son
I
takes
think
it,
that's a lot of us in this room, we have older, like I have a 13-year-old, I have a 9-year-old. We, as citizens, are stuck on this age thing because at the end of the day, I mean, I'm gonna have a lot of e-bikes to ride myself.
Okay, I had input into this, and the age thing was a stickler for the whole conversation we had, we were just coming up with whatever, where we're at. But I don't know enough about e-bikes, I mean, this is a new world to me, I know nothing, so the app, whoever said that, there's an app you can control the kids.
Each device typically has their own manufacturer.
Didn't know that. That's
So
awesome.
this is super helpful.
Like if your own.
Yeah.
Answer.
Get your own app. Pull it as
As
a
an
parent. I don't know if like the little mini bikes. I see if they have, do they have that? I know the sign is. But.
I still like
Yep.
even up there, but it can be governed.
Yeah.
really,
Okay.
Just I know that. Like,
I'm gonna call.
I want to ask my guys.
If we change
Thank you.
eight, 1 and
Thanks.
2 to 10-year-old, and number 3 to 12-year-old, would you all still be here?
Yeah.
Because you don't like the regulations?
It's not the age.
You did that, you just don't like
It's
the,
not about the age?
It is about the age.
That's what I'm saying. So if we change those,
I think it should be the parents.
They can
I
do
think
all
if
that.
they know their
at
kid, it should be
I don't
their
think it should be
discretion.
any of them.
Yeah,
How are they gonna determine?
It's my 8-year-old.
Just delete that column.
if
If
they're violating
Asterisk
something, these
is
guys
good.
are gonna stop them and find out their age.
Yeah,
we
but
put an
do you
asterisk-
really want police stopping every child on an e-bike? Let's, come on,
That won't, that's not gonna happen.
thank God. Okay, so
But if they're messing around and doing things like we're.
I
talking about,
understand that, I get that, but
That shouldn't take an ordinance to, if they're running through property or.
I mean, I think the
doing something
citizens
illegal,
are here to
They
say,
should be able to, they should.
we're willing to put on a class,
Take
Mayor.
care of right then and there. That's how it works.
and like I said, this is
They don't have
happening
any
through a
teeth.
lot of
They can't
communities.
do it. They don't have any teeth.
It's a huge thing,
It's hard to,
so.
running through property, that's damaging.
Or stop signs and.
So it's the age
Yep.
column
Age is
in total, that is the
This
concern.
is what most people are here
Okay.
about, is age.
So you're,
And also like,
so if we eliminated the age and restriction and kept all the rest, you'd be happy?
And there are
I
bits
feel-
and pieces.
It's like the Hunger Games, like the next thing they're gonna be chipped. And you're gonna, when they like drive through a certain thing, you're gonna see how old they
I
are.
think I'm already chipped from the government.
but
Trust me.
There are $10 fines if you break the rules of double riding. If you don't have a helmet on, it's already in chapter 77, the one that you're trying to amend. I think a lot of us here are like, if you don't enforce that one, why are you making it stricter with all these other things and then trying, how are you gonna enforce that? It is in place, whether it was written in 1999, it says the same thing. Why are we trying to redo it when this one has not been enforced? So why even have the age, the ordinance, everything, until you have more knowledge about, like you said, I didn't know about this, and we're saying we didn't know about that.
I think he said he didn't even know helmets were required. Are they required?
They should be.
Are they?
They are.
I don't think they are.
Yeah. About that, they actually are required in the ordinance.
Then they're not enforcing it, so.
Exactly.
so maybe
Well,
it's
then
starting with
You
that
need
in
an
the
ordinance so
education.
it's clear. You need an ordinance so it's clear.
There is.
That's what you do in traffic engineering. You make
All
stuff
right.
clear. Put in stop signs, you train people and you obey the laws. If you're not enforcing it, you gotta do something. I almost ran over 3 people. 3 times now.
That's right there, number 4, moment.
All right.
All right, well, we were gonna wrap this up.
So custom books are student path. My son has one. Takes it to baseball practice. He lives on it from 5 to 8:30 at night. If he breaks the rules, it does get taken away. But if he can't ride it over at the rec center, like how do is he gonna have to, in order to go to, I don't know, what street? The new development, Zach Road. He has to go all the way down to First Street, come all the way through those houses, come back up. And is there any future plans to put a sidewalk along Warrior Road?
Yes.
I know there's a couple new houses on there that
I think we're
don't have
getting bids
sidewalks.
are at the moment.
The new houses that don't have sidewalks, I don't know why they don't have sidewalks, but that should be addressed. That's another issue, but
I just said we got bids out right now for sidewalks.
okay, even for the dwellings that should have sidewalks. I don't know which ones you talking about.
Well,
The one in the corner that was supposed to have a sidewalk put in when it was built.
South side.
South side of what?
Of Warrior?
Warrior Drive on the corner of Fort.
Brand new dwelling, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's gonna take a letter and possibly we'll have to do it and assess them, but yeah.
Yeah, I was supposed to have one put in
Yep.
when it was built.
Yep.
We're dealing with that one.
It's a safety issue. It doesn't matter if you're on a skateboard, bicycle. Kids are lazy. This is one way to get kids out of the house is on these bikes. And that's proven fact. It is what it is. The helmet deal is great. If they're messing around, I would hope that cops would address the issue. Call the parents, because every kid that has a bike has a cell phone in his pocket. If they don't, they probably should, or they should stay at home because they get hurt, they need to call somebody. I think the bikes are safer than the scooters. Just, I think they're sitting down, there's better brakes on them. You see some of these kids that are going down the street, 30 miles an hour on a scooter. And it was an adult scooter that they buy for a 10 or 12-year-old boy. The parents probably shouldn't have bought that for them, but that's what their buddy has, so that's what they get. They hit one little lip, that's a mouthful of dentures, But I think the police are doing a great job addressing this situation. Talking to them, they talked to my son. They're not gonna be perfect, but they're also not gonna be perfect on bicycles, and bicycles are a thing of the past, so. The world is evolving into electronic, even vehicles today. And I hate to see them leave, but we're just getting started. I'm sure some kid got one today after school, and for, end of the year, they're gonna get one. But going over to the rec center, the kids gotta have them over there, just stay off the path, maybe grass only type rule.
But I don't want them on the grass either with all the sprinkler heads.
But maybe they can ride it to the pool and park it at the pool parking lot, then walk in, stay off the path.
That's not a bad idea.
Give them a place to park at least, so they can at least still go.
Yeah.
They don't need to zoom through the paths where people are walking, but I think the parking lot, and I think that's a great idea. If he has a vehicle, they park right by the IBF, then they have to walk in.
Yeah.
So, maybe that's a good starting point, but I don't see them leaving, and I hope everybody's safe, but bicycles are just as dangerous, so.
Just a question to everybody. How about, just so we got some information on your feelings, what about like if, light restrictions, say dusk to dawn or a half hour before dusk?
I think these kids are young enough that the parents shouldn't control that.
I was born and raised with street lights come on, you better be home.
Yeah, I think, I get it, but they should all have their lights on if they're riding.
Because there are some of these that don't have the proper lighting.
Well, they can buy
And
it.
then
Amazon sells it.
And well,
at 12
who's
bucks.
they? It's you.
Yeah, I know, but anymore.
But it's just a thought in case we want to rewrite, so.
The small ones that people see,
It's painful.
the small ones that people see that are little girls riding or little boys,
those are kids that probably live 2 houses down and the people driving by, they don't know that.
Okay,
The parents
just-
are
it
in the
was just a
garage.
question to maybe figure out. How to-
Yeah, but the parents are in the garage, they're watching them. But I would have to say, if you're sending a 7-year-old out on a bike or a scooter, you know,
But 7 o'clock now, would you send your kid out?
yeah, I would.
I mean, daylight savings time is.
I would, but, like, I don't know where your kids are. So I'm driving down your street. I don't even know where you live, but I'm driving down your street. You can see your kids, your grandkids, they're down in Bill's driveway. They're just fine. But I don't know that they're your kids. I think they live over in.
No, I understand. I just ask them questions so we can
So
try to
a
figure.
lot of people have judgment on this that don't actually understand that those kids actually live 2 houses down. And they're safe. That, you know, yeah, they're getting close to the street, or they are in the street, but I think the police are doing a great job and doing their part, and if they need to call, we need to call.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Suggestion back here. You may have said it, but I.
Okay, we'll take
Sorry.
one more
No,
comment
no.
and then we're gonna,
What?
no, one more comment.
You're a walking trail. That's where the bikes go.
Well, that's been suggested.
10 feet wide.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, well, that is.
I remember when we did Sioux City's trail along the riverfront, they switched from 8 to 10. But they might be allowed on 8 if the city should check on that.
Yeah, we could definitely look at it. Good,
That would be a very good idea to do.
good ideas.
Put traffic lanes in schools, because there's lots of kids.
Yep.
Just by like show of hands, people who are in support of helmets,
Yeah, yeah.
okay? In support of lights,
What?
lights, like lights. on-
Taillights.
Well, a lot of the,
Absolutely.
Okay, and then education. Okay,
And then delete that age. Delete that age. That down.
all right. Thank you for all the comments. I think this was very educational for all of us. So I'm gonna recommend to the council from the inputs that we have heard tonight that we kill reading number 2 and go into restarting this process again and putting in some of the comments and rewriting what we've heard tonight.
Are you willing to
Uh,
take any suggestion with bringing kids in to?
Well, that'll be part of our discussion when we
Kind of
start
a-
rewriting.
the next
Yep.
steps.
Yep. Taking input, then
Will you discuss that at the next?
So as I explained, the first, second, and third reading, so when the first reading will come out, it'll be out in the agenda as the first reading.
It probably won't be.
But it won't be next week.
We meet every 2 weeks.
So we'll go back to reading 1 and it'll take 3 readings. We can kill if the council agrees to speed it up and everybody agrees how the new ordinance is written, that we can bypass 2 and 3 readings and then put it immediately in effect. But I think this is such a big issue that I don't suggest that. Which means it'll take like 3 months.
Get through some.
Well,
And that's my thing.
But the bottom line is, the biggest concern is the safety. And what we've seen and heard and comments, we care about your kids, honestly.
Well, we care about each other's kids. I think you could take it back to the meeting that will help try to educate our children, our children's friends, those around us to continue to be safe and do that in the meantime. And hopefully, if we get through the summer, because we can enforce, I think that was gonna be your concern with that all the way through the summer.
The trails and
But
so.
we can only get much
as the summer goes
I'll
along.
need a
But-
motion if that's agreeable.
I'll get you there, but we appreciate all your comments.
Yeah, definitely.
But you keep talking about the existing ordinance. I think because technology has changed, there's so much more going on with motorized scooters. That's part of the problem. And bless everybody's heart, there's a problem in town here, or we wouldn't be here. And we all see it. I think you do. And bless,
Seen in your midst, like you guys have said.
it's terrible in my street.
I have not. From it either, from like, hey, Houston's, sorry, say it again.
your kid's messing around. I do not hear that, and I am very open. Come talk to me. I know everybody good. So some of this might seem like, wow, they don't really know there's, but we really don't, because we would be hearing other things. That's why we're here, because we want to hear what's being said.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it needs to be either revamped or just swapped altogether. I don't know, but this is not where you want to go. If you want community support, you want them to not be scared of police officers coming up to them. You want them to learn. That's not the way to do it, is my.
No, we appreciate that.
Yep, exactly.
I motion that we kill this ordinance as it's written right now. And readdress this in the future.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion, a second to drop the second reading and revamp the ordinance and bring them back at a later date. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We appreciate all the comments, so this will not happen at the moment. And we'll take the comments and rewrite.
Can we get names of the people who want to volunteer?
To rewrite it, no.
No, for the committee.
Well,
we can get that.
That'll come. That'll come.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you need an ad hoc,
I got some names. I'll
you
send
know,
names.
I'm happy to help.
Thank you.
You're high, you two are high on the list.
Who are you?
Just a little.
No.
Don't forget, you gotta be interviewed.
Yeah, don't forget to stop by the TV and talk to her.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Administrator report,
Oh, do I have to?
just do the short one.
Do the clip notes.
Which one's that? Oh,
Do the cliff notes, yeah.
well, at least two are here.
Guys, we still have to finish.
Um,
We're not out,
Paul?
so, yeah. Thank you guys for coming.
Hey,
Paul.
Hey, Paul.
Paul.
Paul Stensland.
Paul
Paul
Stanford.
Stensland. I was giving my update here.
Voice from God.
You might want to know this, so. So we were talking about the drainage ditch study.
Thank you.
And Paul is one of them that was the neighbors. So we've looked at some things with Andrea, Ron, Jason, and that crew. I think one of the comments, maybe Kirk, you had, if we're gonna be starting redoing a study that is gonna tell us the same thing we've had before, why do it? And Rick's also been a part of it, so. Yeah, so the recommendation from staff, and we got support from Andrea, is that we won't go forward with that study update. However, we do need to be addressing things, so what we're gonna do is come back with a proposal to get some costs updated. You take basically the recommendations that have already been done in past studies, take those and work through those and bring back, preliminary concept design with costs so that we can see, and funding sources. So Patrick from Beanster and Kim is a drainage ditch engineer, does a lot of the drainage ditches in the area, has a lot of expertise in funding sources and how you can leverage IDOT funds and other things. So we're going to be coming back with that. We've basically told McClure that well, not basically, I have told McClure we're not moving forward with that. So that item will get killed, I guess, from the but we will, the other piece is maintenance. So we're looking at some of the areas that need to be cleaned out. And so we're gonna get some bids from some excavation contractors to help with the maintenance and then look at future projects. I just wanted them to hear that while they're here. And you guys to hear, because I know that's kind of
Did you hear
been up in
anything
the air.
he's saying?
He knows. Yep,
We've talked about it.
so yeah, just wanted that's about all I have for my report.
Okay, anybody from the
Thank you.
council?
I just wanted to comment that the fireside room looks really nice. I was in there.
Thank you.
We had the nice flea market on Saturday and I was stuck
I
in there.
looked up 8-foot
But it-
trails and can't stripe them.
Okay,
Okay, good to know. Jason, are you still online?
nope.
He left.
They didn't do the end of where the stage was. I assume that's just temporary. He didn't paint that. So I'm not sure why. But anyway, it looks nice. And then,
Okay.
and I'm curious too, is the fence over by the primary school around the.
Yep.
Why did we replacing that or?
Nope, that's gotten removed. It's been a maintenance nightmare to keep it cleaned out, keep the trees out, weeds and brush growing up through the fence. So Mop and Pines is gonna keep their part of the fence. But it opens it up, gives us a bit ease of maintaining that, because it's important that we don't restrict a lot of the old town drainage flows there before it gets to the big ditch. Schools have been very appreciative of it. It just opens things up, so.
But we're keeping that fence between the school and the
The,
retainage?
no, I think that's gone. The only thing that's gonna stay is Mop and Pines.
Oh, the other one's still
There's-
there on the east,
It is, okay.
which is.
Yeah. That may be coming down also, but
Just curious as what, I had a couple of people ask me why there's no fence there.
Right.
So I didn't know if we were updating it or what.
no, it's a maintenance nightmare with it there.
Okay.
I don't know, there's really not a state requirement.
And I don't know what.
Mark, I addressed it years ago and it's just like,
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
seriously, I did address it.
yep.
That's all I got.
I would just like to publicly say thank you to the Legion for the luncheon on, last week. That was a very nice gesture and greatly appreciated that.
Yeah, thank everybody for coming out tonight, valuable information. Also, as we wrap up the budget season, again, thanks to all the department heads, everybody that put their countless hours into the budget, making it work for the city so we can get it approved tonight and set for the next fiscal year. So that's it. Be safe out there.
If you will let me speak, I would like to apologize for not being there. We had serious issue on our plane, and so I did not make it back yet. So, but thank
are
you.
you?
Des
Are you
Moines.
okay?
You're in Des
Yeah,
Moines?
I am. Yeah, the plane's not, but I am. So I apologize for not being there.
Yeah, exactly.
I fully intended to attend, so thank you for everybody coming. That's why we have 3 readings, and I appreciate the effort for everybody, and also reiterate thank you to the Legion. That was a great gesture, like Sherry said, so that's what I got.
Safe travels.
Yes, hope you,
I have nothing.
Okay,
hope you get back sooner than later.
I have one thing.
what's that?
Motion to adjourn.
Not yet.
We hadn't had a mayor report.
Oh, you gotta do your, yeah.
I was gonna thank the Legion too. That was phenomenal what they did for the city. For all the workers. And I'd also like to mention that, give a shout out to Holiday Lighting. They have or are donating lighting to the Little League concession building over at the trail, and they will also be donating lighting to the police station.
Nice.
Reds and blues.
Reds and blues.
Reds and blue.
Never to be changed.
Everybody that's in there.
Motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to
We
adjourn.
got no.
Late.
Second.
Oh, I motioned an hour ago.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.